in the league. But Jamal Mosley, right as you said off the top, these two going head to head. Jamal coming in as the acting head coach, and must feel good about the way his team had to go toe to toe with them physically on that end.
Well, Mose wanted to win regardless of how they won, but it had to feel especially good for Mose to win this as a defensive battle, because that's what he takes great pride in, and he's done a phenomenal job with our exponential growth on the defensive end of the floor this season.
And the players too, Devin, I mean, that's the thing. They've had to buy into this all season long, and games like this must be really satisfying.
It is. It's about communication, getting guys to really buy into what you're selling, and you got to have some success with it, which they've done. They've increasingly gotten better defensively over the years, and especially when people are in and out. They haven't had steadily guys with just. It's hard to do when you're trying to implement defensive guys. And you got guys in and out and understanding where they be. Now they're communicating, they're understanding where each other are supposed to be, and they're holding each other accountable, which is really important.
Well, and in case you are just joining us and wondering why Jamal Mosley was the acting head coach, just about 90 minutes before the start of the game tonight, Rick Carlisle told the media that he had had a positive COVID test today, despite the fact that he's been vaccinated, and there were certainly going to be some retesting ongoing. But unfortunately, he hopes it's a false positive. There's much more to come on that. And we assume we're going to hear from Mose coming up a little bit later on for his reaction from this. But in terms of the offensive side of things, we heard from Luka, and they got stops and then got to just go play, which is what Luka loves to do the most, right, Devin?
Yeah, like I said, defensively, things weren't really going to change much when Coach was out. But offensively, when you got Luka, you never worry about that side of the ball. He's going to get shots for himself and for other people. He wasn't his normal self tonight, but he did enough. Guys didn't have great shooting percentages, but he's still dynamic in all the things that he do.
Jenny, for him to find ways to get this offense to flow when it's really tough against that New York defense, he just had to stay after it tonight.
He kept his poise. I thought he was in complete control the whole night, and he penetrated their defense, which is not easy to do. I thought he paced himself, though, well, but I also thought a key to our offense was Jalen Brunson, who was a plus 34, and I thought we were a better team with him on the floor tonight. That's not an anomaly this season. We're a better team many nights with Jalen Brunson on the floor, because he just gives you that secondary playmaker with another guy with a tremendous amount of poise that can create for himself and can create for others. So when you go against a stingy defense like the Knicks, sometimes it comes down to individuals being able to break the defense down and make plays, as opposed to an offense that you may run.
You're right, and it also helps when he's shooting 60% in the fourth quarter. I mean, the shots he's taking aren't necessarily easy, but he's making them at a high rate, and he's making them when you need them the most. When you're making a run and you need to stop, this guy's open and willing to take the shot, not afraid of the moment. And in the fourth quarter, he's a guy that you depend on.
Think how far, Devin, this team has come in closing out games. Last season, all of the issues that they dealt with, and so much of it has to do, right, with the development of those two young guards, in Luka and Jalen.
It is. To stay, poised throughout these runs, but also experience is the best teacher. They've all experienced the losses, the games that they should have won. Now they're understanding what it takes to win late game, making the plays. And like Jenny says, sometimes it goes down to one-on-one plays. Hey, you may play good defense, but my offense is better. They got two guys that can go get a bucket when you need it in the fourth quarter.
Jalen Brunson finished with 15 off the bench, 14 for Tim Hardaway Jr., who was also returning to New York, where he had spent, a lot of his career. And it was nice to see how involved he was as a spark, especially in that second quarter. There was an 18-2 run, which completely turned this game around. The Knicks were up by 13 when they started that run, and Tim Hardaway, Devin, was a part of that for sure.
He is. He's a fire starter. He only needs to see one or two shots go in, and he can automatically become on fire. But I just love the way he's been attacking the rim, not settling for just the jump shots, and just understanding, like, hey, people are going to guard me at the three-point line. I can create offense inside the paint and really get my offense going that way, and then my jump shots come a lot easier.
Jenny, what did you see from him in his return?
He's a tremendous spark off the bench. When you're going against a defense like the Knicks, to have a guy like that that can heat up and put you on runs, it's huge, especially on the road, to be able to have those momentum runs. And Tim is usually a big part of that. So when we're down, you're going to see Tim Hardaway go in the game, and he can turn games around single-handedly.
Big part of that run there in the second quarter for sure, and the Mavericks needed all of it. 99-86 is the final as they win a low-scoring defensive battle. That suits Jamal Mosley just fine. Let's take a listen to the acting head coach.
Before we get into any basketball, I was told beforehand that Rick has been cleared to travel with us to DC. So just wanted to put that out there before we get into any of the basketball discussions. On the basketball side of it, I just thought it was a great team effort. Our guys did a great job of pulling together, sacrificing for one another, and then just being able to sit down and guard down the stretch. You know, Maxi Kleber was absolutely amazing on Julius Randle, but us deciding to sit down and guard was a big key to us winning this game.
All right, we'll get into questions with Brad Townsend.
Yeah, Jamal, you know, I know you took over for Rick in Tampa earlier this year, but I just wondered, you know, what it was like for you to have the helm the whole game tonight, and what that experience was like for you personally.
Well, first, Rick has done such a phenomenal job of preparing all of his staff members to take over or just to step up in every moment. It's the same thing with the teams, just being prepared in each moment. So for me, it was just going off of the guidance that he's given me. And he, you know, when he texted and said, you know, you're ready for this, you're prepared for this, and just go off of the things we've constantly talked about. And that was, you know, a place of comfort for me to be able to help lead these guys.
All right, Tim McMahon, ESPN.
Congrats on the win, Jamal. Curious your perspective of Jalen Brunson's development this year. Where have you seen him really kind of raise his game?
Jalen has always been a winner and a leader. And I think that's where he understands timing and score and different situations. So a lot of the game, I'm leaning on him and Luka to discuss what's going on the court, his court vision as a point guard, his leadership. That's where it's really taken a big step, is his leadership ability with these guys.
All right, Mark Followell.
Mose, thanks for the time and congratulations on the win tonight. Knowing that you handle the defense for this team, to have the opportunity to be on the front seat on the bench, and then to see the way the defense played tonight, holding New York to 86 points and 36% shooting from the floor, and particularly the job that you guys did on Randle. What did that mean to you to see those guys play that way, and what was your perspective on just what came together for you on that end of the floor?
Well, it was just good for us to stick to the game plan. I know it didn't start off well early. I mean, it was just a kind of a ratty game to start, and our guys started to buy into saying, hey, look, they're trying to grind the game down, and we need to just get stopped so we can get out and run. You know, let our offense flow through our defense. And when the guys bought into that in the huddle, communicating that was, you know, the changing point of the game.
Jenny, your fellow assistant coach there, did a great job during the game and after it, wouldn't you say?
Oh, he's ready. You know, he's ready. And as he said, I think Rick Carlisle is in a stage of his career where it's all about giving back, and it's about leaving a legacy, passing the torch. And he's very passionate about developing his coaching staff and preparing them for the opportunity to get over into that seat themselves. So credit to Jamal Mosley. Credit to the other assistant coaches who are a big part of this game tonight, and also much appreciation for the leader that we have in Rick Carlisle, where he's very much into all of our professional development.
Well, and it was certainly great to hear, too, that he's been cleared to travel with the team. So as far as we know, good news that things will be, I guess, back to normal, so to speak, tomorrow.
But, yeah, I mean, you look at this Mavs organization. Not only do they have a deep team, but they have a deep coaching staff as well. So if these things happen, you know, they're prepared for it. You know, it's next man up, whether it's players or coaches. And, you know, tonight was no different.
No doubt. Mavericks with a win, now 3-1 on this trip, and rolling as they head to D.C. next. We've got more reaction coming in. We hope to hear from KP and Jalen Brunson right after this.
Mavs Live on Bally Sports is brought to you by Frontier Communications. Don't go it alone.
Pull up like 20 deep, bet we just might shut this thing down.
Hey, KP, congratulations.
Thank you.
Just how do you believe this was the best defense that you guys have played this year? It's the fewest points you've allowed in the paint all year. And do you feel as if this team, really since you guys came back from the snowstorm, actually takes on the idea of being actually a defensive-oriented team?
I think so. I feel like we all did challenge ourselves a little more to be better, especially myself. Everybody's been playing really hard and doing their job. And also myself, my defense has gotten better as the year has went on, and you could see that our overall defense is pretty good, and it's also the way they played. They play slower. We're able to sit down and guard them, and Maxey did a phenomenal job tonight. Offensively, I think it was pretty ugly game from us, especially myself. But at the end, defense won us the game, and that's how it's got to be. It's not going to go great offensively every night, but we got to make sure our defense is there.
Eddie Sefko.
Hey, KP, what was it like having Mose in the big chair there instead of Rick?
Yeah, no, Mose is great. I'm happy for him. He's been working really, really hard. And he's great. He's a great communicator. He knows how to bring everybody together, and that was a great first win for him.
All right, Stephen Bondi, New York Daily News.
Hey, KP, what did you think about the crowd's reaction tonight? And was there something extra for you here, getting that victory? Did it feel any extra special? And how excited were you to get that final dunk there? I saw some of your teammates were pumped up.
Yeah, no, it was the reaction was what I expected. Again, of course, I'm happy we got the win. We lost the last two last season. And tonight, we grinded this game and got the W, and on the road against them, which they are a tough team, and they played really good defense on me and on us in general. And yeah, just, overall, a tough game, grinding game, and it's good to come up with a win against a tough team like the Knicks.
All right.
Yeah, hi, Luke. I know that Jamal took over in the one game in Tampa, but I wondered what it was like to have him, be the head coach tonight, and how is he as a head coach in a leadership position?
I mean, he was great. As you saw, it's not easy to just replace, strange thing happened. It's not easy to replace the coach right away, but he did an amazing job. He managed the whole game perfectly, and we were just glad to have this win for him.
Chuck Cooperstein.
Luka, how much joy are you guys taking in by winning games like this year, when your offense isn't always clicking, but your defense was really playing at a tremendously high level, and you guys were able to do this more than just a few times?
Oh, yeah, it's good. Sometimes you're going to win ugly. Yeah, I mean, you got to win ugly. That means when things don't go right, you got to step up it together and win the game. And I think Maxey did an amazing job today with Randall. He was tremendous out there.
Tim McMahon.
Luka, I know you work with Jamal on a daily basis, individually, and obviously in his role as defensive coordinator. He's obviously a guy with head coaching aspirations. What would you say in terms of his qualification for that type of role?
I mean, yeah, he can be head coach for sure. I work with him a lot, and he got the things that needed for a head coach, and he can be the head coach for sure.
Dwayne Price.
Yes, Luka. Coach Mosley forgot to tell us who was the defensive player of the game tonight. Who would you give the defensive belt to tonight?
I will give two to Maxey. Two belts.
2 belts?
Yeah.
Why 2?
Because he was so good in defense today.
All right. Stephen Bondi, New York Daily News.
Hey, Luke, I know it's a small crowd here because of the COVID restrictions, but what did you make of the reaction this crowd had towards KP?
I mean, it's obviously, I mean, we saw this last year. I think we're going to still see it. But I don't know. I think that's a question you got to ask KP.
All right, we're going to move over into Spain.
So on they go, looking for a fourth straight win to the nation's capital, taking on Mr. Triple-Double, Russell Westbrook, and looking to wrap up what has been a very successful run so far. So let's get your take, Devin, on this one going forward, some of the reaction you just heard, and what that means for tomorrow.
They talked about defense. They played extremely well tonight. Going against the Wizards, are going to have their handful. The way Russell Westbrook has been playing lately, dominating the ball, dominating the paint. Bradley Beal's questionable. If he plays, he presents a whole sorts of other problems. Those two guys are dangerous and can win games by themselves. Defense is going to be extremely important tomorrow.
No doubt. Jenny, obviously game planning for somebody like Beal, the leading scorer in the NBA, not to mention Russell Westbrook. How do you go about doing that?
They want to play a glorified pickup game. If this game could be 130 to 125, they would be happy. So we've got to find a way to stay disciplined, force it into a little bit more of a grind game, make them work for everything. We don't know who's going to be playing. We don't know if Beal's going to play. He's missed the last 2 games. The bigger question for me, and I'm taking my coaching hat off right now, who's playing for us? On back-to-backs, we haven't always played everybody. I don't know if that's going to be the same for tomorrow night or not, but regardless, we've got to have a next man up mentality. It's a big game for us, a must win in my opinion, as we try to climb the ladder and get to that 6th spot.
It's a great point, and we've seen where they've split the two, Luka and KP, on these back-to-backs. They obviously both played tonight. What does that mean for tomorrow? You have any predictions?
I don't, but we talk about moving into the 6th. We talked about this with Brian the other day. Like, how many more times can we sit guys out and expect them to win or play well? It's a difficult situation because you want to be well rested going into the playoffs. You want those guys at 100%, but then does that mean you sacrifice the 6th seed and in a play-in game? Those are all questions that they have to ask themselves and understand what's important to them.
We'll be interested and intrigued to see what happens tomorrow for that one. Before we let you go, though, Jenny, big games happening in the college game tonight. The women's Final Four, already one big game in the books, and that is Stanford beating South Carolina by 1. And how about the halftime score for Arizona, up 10 over that vaunted Huskies team of UConn? I know you've got connections to just about all of these teams and are watching with a very interested eye.
Very interested. Adia Barnes, the head coach at University of Arizona. We won a championship together. I coached her for years. Just a phenomenal woman. It's an interesting Final Four. You have 2 veteran coaches who have given so much to our game, are obviously going to be Hall of Famers. And you had 2 former WNBA players who've taken over, and you see like the next generation of coaches in the women's game, former players that are growing up into being great coaches. So it's fun for me just being a coach, having coached against, with a lot of these coaches and seeing them have success.
Boy, and Devin, you worried about your Huskies there? You were calling for them.
I am. They were down 10 the other game, too. Just,
yeah, it's not going out on a limb.
Exactly. They'll be poised. They got a really good point guard. She's probably, she won National Player of the Year.
She's a baby.
She's a baby, but she shows up in big moments, and I expect her to do exactly that tonight.
Ooh, boy, we better hurry up, wrap this up so we can see the second half of that one. Jenny, great stuff. Terrific to have you with us. Tomorrow it will be Skin. It will be Mark Stein. It will be Brian Damaris. Big show for that game against the Wiz. Thanks for watching, everyone. This is Mavericks basketball on Bally Sports.
Is back only at Whataburger.
Mavs win 99-86, and Devin, you got to put on a show in New York.
You do, and this is like when you pull up to the drive-thru menu and you don't even have to look at the menu. You know what you want. Everybody in the building knew, thought Luka was going to shoot this ball. I thought he was going to shoot this ball, but finds Dorian for the corner 3 splash. Great to see Luka doing what he does. Luka magic.
Oh, I couldn't wait to see where you were going to go with that. That was the perfect no look, that's for sure. Welcome back. Dana and Devin here on the Academy Sports and Outdoors demo set. Coach Jenny Busek with us from the Mavs locker room as well. And the thing about Luka's no looks, they are awesome to watch, but everybody knows where they need to be, right? And that's the key. He trusts his teammates to be in the right place, and then they come through for him. Right, Coach?
Oh, it's really something I've not seen. I've seen a lot of players use the look-away pass. With Luka, what he does so well is he uses his eyes to move the defense. He actually controls the defense with his eyes to get certain player shots at certain times of the game. He's in complete control. It's almost like at times it feels like he's playing a video game.
Well, and I've asked you so many times, Devin, about that because we're all completely wowed by it. When you know you're playing with him, what's going through your mind?
Stay ready. You don't know where this ball's coming. It can come at any moment. Like I said, Dorian had to stay ready in that point right there because, you think he's going to shoot it at the last minute. He could have shot it, but he gave Dorian that shot, which, got Dorian going. I think he hit another one at the top of the key after that. But it's like I say, he's in complete control, and he understands where everybody is on the floor at all times. And you just never know when that pass is going to come.
For Luka today, 26 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists. We were looking for a big game from Kristaps Porzingis in his return to New York, just the second time he'd come back to Madison Square Garden since the trade. And what we saw most of the time was him working through some frustrations that the shot wasn't there, but he hung in, didn't he, Devin?
He did, and sometimes when you go against your old team, you want to play good so badly that, you kind of put a lot of pressure on yourself. He didn't get off to a great start. Second half, though, he kind of found a little bit of a rhythm and enough to get the job done. But, like I said, sometimes when you want it so bad, it doesn't always work out for you. But, they got the win.
4 in the first half, 10 points in the second for KP. And, Jenny, it's about trying to harness that extra emotion, right? And sometimes you try too hard.
There's an ideal state for every player emotionally on a scale from 1 to 10, and it's different for every player, and sometimes you can be under it and you have to know how to get up for it, and sometimes you can be over your optimal number and have to figure out how to get down. What I loved about KP tonight, there's other games when he struggles and he starts to force it and it hurts our team. What I loved about him tonight was even though he was struggling early and you knew this was a big game for him and it meant a lot for him, he stayed with it. He stayed within the context of what we do. He never tried to force things, and then eventually it came around to him and he helped us in ways that may or may not have shown up on the stat sheet, so he never hurt us. So that was a good sign of growth from KP tonight.
The other good thing, Devin, is you just play New York twice a year. So you only have to worry about this, just a few times.
Yeah, but I think they come to us pretty soon, too.
Yeah,
so
you're right. It's just a couple weeks away.
He'll have another shot at him.
Yeah, that's true. There will be payback coming for sure. More coming up here. Do we have reaction coming in? No, let's take a look at the Western Conference standings now. And the Mavericks just keep after it here in 7th at 26-21. We've talked about that season high. Now 5 games above 500. Jenny, I know you've been looking at this as well.
We want to get to 6. I mean, that's very important. We don't want to be in a play-in game. Right now, we're 3 games. Portland plays Milwaukee tonight. So after tonight, we very well could be 2.5 back. And we don't have the tiebreaker with Portland, so we've got to get above them. Every game's going to be important. Tomorrow night, big game for us.
Yeah, I think it's important they continue to play well and win at a high rate because it doesn't like Portland's losing too often. They're getting healthy. If you take a look at that Warriors score,
I was about to say.
I mean, jeez.
What happened?
That's what happens when Steph doesn't play.
No Steph, no Draymond, right?
But just Mavericks got to keep being consistent, keep playing at a high level, and in order to catch teams, you got to win. So no more games of giving games away. They got to win as many games as they can.
We've talked about that just on this road trip alone, Jenny, the fact that this is one of those make hay while the sun shines kind of moments. And there were some that got away, maybe that Pels game, some of those that you wish you could have back. So you got to go steal a couple and take care of business, for example, tomorrow.
We need it. 3-1 on this road trip, have a chance to go 4-1. That's phenomenal. You hope to go 50% on the road, but we did drop some, so we had to catch some up. And as we talked about the other night, this is really a 9-game road trip for us if you look at it by NBA standards, because we had a 3-game road trip. We came home for 36 hours, and then we hit the road again for 5 games. So to go 4-1 on this trip, if we take care of business against Washington tomorrow, would be really good and put us in striking distance.
Doing work on the road, that's important, that's for sure. And, you're happy to see that because this does feel daunting when you look at it like Jenny just laid it out for.
It is, but when you're a young team, winning on the road is hard. And it shows growth with that, with the Mavs really experiencing that, understanding that. A trip like this, you got 4 games, come home for 1, and then on the game for another 5. You know, it could go a lot of different ways, but the Mavs are focused and understanding where they are and where they need to be.
Love it. They go to New York. They get it done. Not an easy game to win tonight, but it's in the win column, and the Big Apple will be in the rear view mirror. 99-86. More reaction after this.
Well, you see him in New York now. We're back here on Bally Sports, and there is Luka Doncic with a 26-point effort for the Mavs tonight in a win. Luka, it's Mark Harpin-Skin back in Dallas. Thanks for coming back out to talk to us for a little bit. Hey, kind of a weird night with what happened today with Coach Carlisle and Jamal Mosley on the bench. But Rick said tonight before the game, when we talked to him on Zoom, you guys would play your butt off for Jamal tonight. What was it like being out there playing your butt off for Jamal, and what was it like with him as the acting head coach tonight?
Oh man, he was great. He did a great job. You know, I think he was just letting us play. You know, he said get stops and play basketball, and that's what we did, especially in the second half. And he did an amazing job, and congratulations on his first win as head coach.
I got one for you, Luke. What does it feel like to be unstoppable as a player?
Who's unstoppable?
You are. Who has stopped you? I mean, you just seem to have your way night in and night out. Where do you see your game right now?
No, I mean, today I didn't really play great, but we got the win, and that's what it matters. We picked it up in the second half, like I said, and you know, we won by how much? I don't know, but it was a great second half, and again, congratulations to Moss on his first win.
You know, for a lot of players, it's very special playing in New York, no doubt special for you too, but it's a little different without full arenas. Did it still feel magical at Madison Square Garden, despite the fact that it wasn't a full house tonight?
I mean, yeah, you know, but they had a couple fans. It was loud too for the fans they had, but obviously without the crowd, it's not the same. But it's always special to play here in Madison Square Garden, and it's always special.
Always special to talk to you, my friend. Thanks for the time tonight. We appreciate it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Luka Doncic joining us with 26 points tonight as the Mavericks win. He didn't know the score. We'll tell you. It was 99-86. They won by 13 tonight. Next game for the Mavs is tomorrow, 6 o'clock with Mavs Live starting at 5:30 on Bally Sports. The Mavs wrap up the road trip. Chance to go 4-1 on a trip that started with a loss in New Orleans, then a win against the Thunder, the Celtics, and now the Knicks. And the last team they'll see on the trip, the Wizards, tomorrow night. Stay tuned. Mavs Live is coming up next, brought to you by Frontier Communications. Here on Bally Sports, it's Dana Larson, Devin Harris, and Coach Jay Busick, who will break down tonight's win for the Mavericks. Once again,